Hello, I am Follygon, and this is day 24 of Sculptober, a sculpting challenge where there is a new prompt or word each day, and you have to sculpt something based on that word. Today's prompt is sweet, and I'm going to be sculpting Vanellope from Wreck-It Ralph. But first, if you are new around here, click that subscribe button. And if you want to learn more about digital sculpting, or maybe download something like my brushes, check out gumroad.com/Follygon. We're gonna start off here by creating the head. As you can see, I have the primary forms in there for the basic plane changes of the face. I've even sculpted in a little divot or area for the mouth. Very rough right now, but it'll be refined here soon. A little more volume around the cheek, as well as getting that major plane break wrapping around the eye all the way down to the corner of the mouth. It's a very particular shape that exists in a lot of anime styles and a lot of cartoon styles, like this one here. Got the ears, eyes, and nose in there now as well. The eyes are so big on this character, and I think I've talked about this before, but they're so large that they run the risk of merging together inside of the head. And I have to be really careful that that doesn't happen. If it does, it's going to cause a ton of problems down the road. Working on that basic shape a little bit more, trying to get the volumes correct around the cheeks. Building in just a little bit of the expression now so that I have less work to do when I give the character a little bit more asymmetry later on. And then the basic shape for an eyelid. I actually tried a pretty unique technique here, Not something I do very often with eyes, but I essentially duplicated the eyeball and reused some of that geometry. Created a pretty cool shape there. I'm not sure if I like this technique or not. It has a lot of benefits to using it because it gets the angle for the eyelid going in the proper direction, but it also has some negatives. For this shape for the eye, it actually worked really well, simply because the eye is essentially a half circle. But I think with a more complex eye shape with an actual top and bottom lid, that would cause a lot of problems. Then onto some hair, very simple stuff here. Really rough for that basic insert for the hair at first, and then the ponytail is just a quick tube, pulled out, tapered, and cleaned up. Same thing with a couple strips of geometry for the front of the face. And a little bit more form on the front two pieces of hair that I actually merged together into one solid piece. Roughing in just a couple strokes with my clay brush for the back of the head. And adjusting some of the shapes around the eyes to get that expression feeling a little bit better and get the volume a little bit more inflated around the cheek. I come back to that cheek area quite a lot during the sculpt, as it's a really kind of large inflated area compared to the rest of the character's face. For the eyes, initially I just get in a black circle. This is typically how I just make sure that my eyes are, placed correctly. I think it's a lot easier to see if you have a little bit of an iris pupil combo in there. Then on to adding some color. Start with a base tone and then get some warmer values in there. Some darker areas around the eyes, around the ears. And then just neutralizing some of that back. It's really easy to overpaint something and get it feeling like a clown, so you have to be careful of that. For the mouth, I just go ahead and create a quick selection, then mask and fill that in. I started with a black color there. I tend to avoid overpainting things like this for hand-painted shadows. I essentially wanted to mask out that area of the mouth, but I decided that a darker, slightly less saturated red should do just fine there. And then something that I thought was really interesting with this character is how much better it felt once I put those teeth in there. It felt just a million times better. With that wide open mouth and no teeth, just gums or an open cavity for the mouth, it felt really weird. It didn't feel like the character. But as soon as I put those teeth in, it immediately looked better. Balancing hard and soft shapes around the lips to create a little bit of a better transition, as well as some paint to begin getting some actual form in there for the lip to go ahead and separate that area. I like to use my smooth brush on occasion with polypaint. This is a great way to blend between different areas of color, value, hue, etc. Just make sure when you're polypainting or using a smooth brush with RGB turned on that you're only using that on your highest subdivision level. If you use it on a lower one, it will completely break your paint, so just be aware of that. Some more inflating around those cheeks, like I said, needs a lot of it. I love the view of the character here where it's just the face and no eyes, no hair, nothing else. It looks so goofy and I just kind of like looking at it. One thing that I think a lot of people aren't aware of is that when you open a character's mouth like I've done here, you have to slide that bottom jaw back quite a bit. And that is because your mouth doesn't just open up and down, but it's hinging at that far back corner of your jaw. So when your mouth opens really wide, your chin actually slides backwards. Getting just a little bit more room in the mouth and adjusting the overall shape of some of the form around there. Mainly just doing a smooth pass to clean things up a little bit. It might seem like a really simple shape here for the nose. Initially it is, but I go back through and pinch up part of the edge to get a bit of a stronger transition for the silhouette. So it's not just an oval or kind of a squashed sphere. It actually has a bit more form to it, but I make sure that I keep that soft so it still feels like an organic shape. Playing around with the area around the cheeks again, mainly how it's interacting with the eye, making sure that that's feeling nice. Jumping around a lot right now, just making changes to anything that feels off. Fixing stuff in the hair, adding in a little extra piece for the bangs. And starting to add some more form on the ponytail. I do this on all the hair, but I wanted to show off the process here at least. I start with my Sharp Soft brush to just carve in, almost at random, but kind of focusing on making sure that those strokes are, not super evenly distributed, but more so have a little bit of randomness to it. So I spin the shape around while carving in, and then go back over everything with a pinch brush, and then focus on creating some contrast between hard and sharp transitions. Now adding some candy to the hair. For this, I used Insert Multi-Mesh brushes that I created very quickly. That just involves creating one piece of geometry, and then converting that to a brush. Then you can insert that geometry wherever you want. And then with some quick color changes, we get some more variety. The peppermint piece was actually really fun. I did it in a pretty dumb way here. I wouldn't actually do this if I needed this for anything, but just for the visual effect, I think it works pretty well. So I just slice all those different pieces up, creating the red and white stripes. Then I mask off the middle, spin it, and get that nice little spiral effect. Then some quick licorice for the hair tie. I actually used a rope brush that I created a long time ago. This brush actually inserts a super dense mesh, and I'd like to redo it at some point here in the future, but at least for now it works pretty well. So yeah, just a couple quick changes there to make that feel a bit more like licorice or candy. And then some minor tweaks before I get in and start adding some asymmetry. I really enjoy hand painting eyes. I feel like it's a very therapeutic feeling. If you guys are interested in learning more about hand painting eyes, I actually have a tutorial here on my YouTube channel. I'll throw a link up on screen for you guys. And then some quick asymmetry and expression for our face. Very simple expression, opening up one eye a little bit more, pulling up on one corner of the mouth, just enough to give a little bit of life to the character. And then the final thing is adjusting the direction that the character's looking. So just some quick eye rotations. As I mentioned earlier, if those eyes had merged together in the middle of the head, that would have caused a lot of problems right now. But thankfully I was careful of that, so everything goes nice and smooth. That's gonna be all for this one, a little bit more chill, giving my voice a little bit of a rest today. Click that subscribe button if you're new around here, and check out gumroad.com/Follygon for things like my courses, brushes, and materials. Thank you all so much for watching, and come on back tomorrow for day 25 of Sculptober with the prompt Oni.